All right, let's dive into something truly fascinating. We're going to put a mysterious asteroid under a microscope today, but not a normal one. We're using the lens of physics to ask a pretty wild question.
Yeah, you heard that right. Can we actually use cold, hard data, the pure mathematics of how something moves through space, to understand its true character, its soul? We're setting aside all the old myths for a moment to see what the numbers themselves have to say. And our subject is asteroid 1181 Lilith. Now, what first got scientists interested wasn't its size or where it was, but the way it moves. It has this bizarre, flickering motion. And when they dug into it, they realized this was anything but random. In fact, the patterns they found were, well, pretty shocking.
Okay, so first things first, we have to get our heads around Lilith's unique way of moving. See, most things in space kind of glide on a smooth path. Lilith vibrates. And I'm not talking about a little wobble. For a staggering 77% of its journey, its motion is what scientists call strongly oscillatory. So forget a graceful arc. This is an object that is in a constant state of a really complex flicker. It doesn't just move, it pulses its way through the solar system. So how do you even measure a flicker like that? Well, physics has the perfect term for it: jerk. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It's not a smooth change in speed. It's a constant agitated jitter. Think about being on a train rattling over bumpy tracks. That's Lilith's journey. It's a noisy one. So this brings up a really important question. Is all this shaking just random cosmic noise? Or is there a hidden, disciplined beat underneath all that chaos? Well, using frequency analysis, scientists uncovered not one, but 3 perfectly consistent heartbeats. You've got a 474-day master beat. Think of it as her scheduled appointment to show up in the same spot in our sky. Then there's a 375-day rhythm, which syncs up with Earth's own year. And then there's this intense 98-day pulse that only happens when it looks like it's moving backward from our point of view, what astronomers call retrograde. And this creates a fascinating paradox. Lilith has an incredible long-term memory. It never misses that 474-day appointment with us. But its day-to-day movement, it's completely wild and unpredictable. It's like a volatile but super disciplined dancer who always hits the main beats, but improvises like crazy in between. But here's the thing. This unique rhythm doesn't exist in a vacuum. Nope. It's part of a much larger, and frankly, absolutely stunning cosmic conversation.
Okay, remember that constant jerk we were talking about? Its average mechanical intensity comes out to a very specific number, 0.000015. Just keep that number in your head for a second.
Because incredibly, another asteroid, Apollo, vibrates with almost the exact same intensity. Look at that. They have totally different orbits, different histories, but they shiver through space with the same force. They are, for all intents and purposes, vibrational twins. Now, as cool as that is, it's not the main event, not even close, because Lilith's pulse is locked in a harmonic dance with 2 of the solar system's absolute heavyweights. And here it is. Lilith's intense 98-day retrograde pulse is in a near-perfect 3-to-2 harmonic resonance with the cycles of both Mars and Pluto. So for every 3 pulses of Lilith's flicker, Mars and Pluto complete 2 of their own. Now, if you're a musician, you know what a 3-to-2 ratio is. It's a perfect fifth, the most stable, powerful consonant interval there is. This isn't a relationship of conflict. This is one of profound mathematical support. Now, this harmonic lock with Mars and Pluto gets even more intense when Lilith does something truly wild. It goes out of bounds, literally leaving the standard path of the other planets. And it has 2 favorite gateways for this escape, in the parts of the sky we call Gemini and Sagittarius. This is where it leaves the main highway of the solar system, the orbital plane, and just ventures out into unconditioned territory. But here's the really counterintuitive part. When Lilith goes wild, you'd think it would speed up, right? No, it hits the brakes. It actually becomes slower and even more unpredictable. But its harmonic connection to Mars and Pluto gets stronger. It's not shaking harder, it's shaking cleaner, more efficiently. And this is where the physics and the archetype just click together perfectly. By physically leaving the plane of the sun and planets, what you could call the control map, it enters a state of exile,
a state of freedom where its true vibration can resonate most clearly. So, what does this all mean, right? How does the physics of a rattling asteroid, a wild exile, and a perfect fifth harmony actually tell us a human story? Well, the scientific data maps perfectly onto a psychological journey. It starts with a state of repression, a system that's just stuck in the mud with high friction, struggling. This friction creates the constant agitation, that flicker, that jerk we measured. The path to freedom is exile, going out of bounds, getting away from the controlling influence. And it's there, in that wild space, that it finds true alignment, where its harmonic resonance with Mars and Pluto just sings. And that alignment is the trigger for the breakout, where all that pent-up energy is finally let go. This brings us to the core insight, the real takeaway. That constant, irritating flicker isn't the problem at all. It's actually the solution. It's the timing device. It's the high-frequency spark needed to ignite the heavy machinery of Mars and Pluto, that powerful engine of deep, meaningful change. Think about it. Without Lilith's agitated vibration, the raw power of Mars and Pluto would just remain dormant, a heavy bass note with nowhere to go. She provides the perfectly timed spark that turns their potential energy into kinetic action, triggering the breakout. And that's the ultimate point, isn't it? We didn't need ancient stories to uncover this deep pattern. The hard data of physics, the mathematical signature of its movement, it tells the myth all on its own. And that leaves you with a final thought. What if those parts of us that feel agitated, repressed, or out of sync, our own personal flickers? What if they aren't flaws? What if they're just waiting for that moment of exile to find the right harmonic rhythm and become the very spark of our greatest transformation?